This is the moment officers caught who they suspect was behind California's second deadly mass shooting in 3 days. Several people were killed in the northern coastal city of Half Moon Bay on Monday, about 30 miles south of San Francisco. In a late news briefing, Sheriff Christina Corpus named Monday's suspect as 67-year-old resident Chun-Li Zhao. She said deputies had found him in his vehicle in the parking lot of the sheriff's substation.
Zhao was taken into custody without incident, and a semi-automatic handgun was located in his vehicle. Zhao is believed to have acted alone, and there is no further threat to this community. This is a devastating tragedy for this community and the families touched by this unspeakable act of violence.
Corpus said officers responding to a call found at least 7 people shot dead in 2 locations near each other in Half Moon Bay. She added that police did not yet know the motive for the killings. In the earlier shooting, 11 people were killed in Southern California in the city of Monterey Park in Los Angeles County.
Flowers were placed Monday outside of the California dance hall, where a 72-year-old gunman opened fire over the weekend, killing 11 people and later killing himself, as new details emerged, suggesting the death toll could have been much worse.
My first thoughts was I was going to die here.
Brandon Tsay, who's now being hailed a hero, came face-to-face with a gunman on Saturday night some 20 minutes after the deadly shooting in nearby Monterey Park. Tsay told Good Morning America the gunman walked into the dance hall Tsay operates in a neighboring city and started prepping his gun. Tsay's instincts took over.
Something came over me. I realized I needed to get the weapon away from him. I needed to take this weapon, disarm him, or else everybody would have died. When I got the courage, I lunged at him with both my hands, grabbed the weapon, and we had a struggle. We struggled into the lobby, trying to get this gun away from each other. He was hitting me across the face, bashing the back of my head. I was trying to use my elbows to separate the gun away from him, creating some distance. Finally, at one point, I was able to pull the gun away from him, shove him aside, create some distance, point the gun at him, intimidate him, shout at him and say, "Get the hell out of here. I'll shoot. Get away. Go." And at this point, I thought he would run away, but he was just standing there contemplating whether to fight or to run away. I really thought I would have to shoot him if he came at me. This is when he turned around and walked out the door, jogged back to his van. I immediately called police with the gun still in my hand.
About 12 hours later, police officers approached a white cargo van the suspect was driving and heard a single gunshot from inside as he killed himself.
My heart goes out to everybody involved, especially the people in Star Dance Studio.
Monterey Park's Star Ballroom Dance Studio, which one of its teachers described to Reuters as a beloved community hub, was hosting a Chinese Lunar New Year dance when the shooting occurred.
The World Health Organization has called for immediate and concerted action to protect children from contaminated medicines after a spate of child deaths linked to cough syrups last year. More than 300 children, mostly younger than 5, in Gambia, Indonesia, and Uzbekistan died of acute kidney injury in 2022. These deaths were linked to contaminated medicines, the WHO said on Monday. These over-the-counter cough syrups had high levels of chemicals that the WHO said, quote, can be fatal even taken in small amounts and should never be found in medicines. In addition to the countries above, the WHO said that the Philippines, Timor-Leste, Senegal, and Cambodia could be impacted because they may have the medicines on sale too. It called for actions across its 194 member states to prevent more deaths. The companies involved have either denied their products were contaminated or declined to comment, while investigations are ongoing. The WHO also called for more oversight from governments and regulators, and for drug manufacturers to test their products more thoroughly and keep records of the process.
Once used as a refuge from the hot Arizona sun, Aaron Peterson's backyard pool in Rio Verde foothills now serves as a backup water supply.
It holds 8,500 gallons, and I decided not to empty it so I could have extra water to flush the toilet if I need to.
Residents in this upscale desert neighborhood are now skipping showers and turning off the tap in a desperate scramble to conserve water, as they find themselves cut off from the main source of their supply.
We use between 4,000 and 5,000 gallons a month of water, and we have a GPS meter on our tank that reminds us that it's getting low.
The urgent shortage comes as the neighboring city of Scottsdale said it will no longer sell to commercial haulers who would fill up in the city and then deliver the much-needed water to residents in neighboring Rio Verde foothills, an unincorporated area that has no water supply of its own. Peterson says he was blindsided.
We moved out here in 2018, and we had no information on a water problem when we moved into this area.
Scottsdale said it warned about the cuts back in 2015 and that it needs to save water for its own residents after years of severe drought have cut its own water supply from the Colorado River. The move has forced haulers to drive much farther to collect water from other sources, resulting in steep price increases for the people of Rio Verde foothills who don't have their own wells. But Sarah Porter, the director of the Kyle Center for Water Policy at Arizona State University, says Scottsdale shouldn't take all the blame.
The city of Scottsdale doesn't have control over the growth in Rio Verde. It doesn't have much control over water demand in Rio Verde. And so the people coming to take water from Scottsdale through this water hauling process are, for the city of Scottsdale, kind of like a leak in the water system, that water is leaking out to Rio Verde when the city of Scottsdale needs to take steps to make sure that if there are additional cuts in Colorado River supplies, the city will have enough water to deliver to the people who are there now.
Porter says the real problem lies in the way Rio Verde foothills was developed.
We do have really strong water supply rules in the state, and one of the most important rules is that no new subdivision, no new housing development of 6 or more homes can be built unless the developer shows that there's a 100-year supply of water to serve that home.
But developers were able to skirt those restrictions on a technicality by building subdivisions with 4 or 5 houses instead of 6, so no dedicated water source was required. Now, residents of the suburb are suing Scottsdale to restore access to city water. City officials declined a request for an interview due to pending litigation, but a statement on its website noted that Rio Verde foothills is governed by Maricopa County, not Scottsdale, whose residents fund their own water infrastructure. Adding, quote, "The county and the state hold ultimate responsibility and authority over areas with unfettered growth that have limited to no long-term access to water."
An unexploded missile as tall as a man, sticking straight out of the ground. And the sounds in the distance of munitions that, unlike this one, didn't malfunction. The man that was talking is Damian Duda, 34 years old, an academic and media worker, originally from Poland, also a volunteer combat medic in Ukraine. He's been here almost 10 years. Duda's helmet camera and his own words tell much of the story. Reuters met him in Warsaw.
Our task is to get the soldier out of the line of fire, give him basic medical care, make sure he doesn't bleed out, resolve problems with the respiratory system, airways, and take him to a relatively safe place where ambulances are waiting for him.
Medykami pierwszego kontaktu dla rannych żołnierzy, w której pierwszy raz znajdę się pod ostrzałem, pierwszy raz będę miał tego rannego.
I was very afraid of being under fire. The first time I had this man with serious wounds, it turned out that I kept my cool, I knew how to behave. It turned out that, despite the fear, I could control it and turned it into the ability to think logically and make quick decisions.
Duda started doing this in 2014, originally by himself. Now he has a team of 6, all Polish and with experience as far away as Iraq and Syria. They use a specially equipped vehicle and put their efforts on social media. This was all filmed in Soledar earlier in January, which, as this drone footage obtained by Reuters suggests, is a cratered hellscape. Now, Russia claims to have captured the town. Because he's a volunteer, if Duda dies, it's up to his family to get his body back to Poland.
Nawet jeżeli jesz czerstwy kawałek chleba,
Even if you eat a piece of bread, you should be happy because, first, you have something to eat. Second, you have the opportunity to eat. You're alive. The stars shine brighter after such experiences because you can look at them. The mere fact that you can look at the stars proves that there are no drones, there is no artillery in the air, you can breathe fresh air. Being there makes you see things and little joys that you wouldn't normally notice.
Everyone on Duda's team is a volunteer. They travel to war zones on days off from their regular jobs.